Wow, take a look at that guy. Look at that sad, lonely guy. I bet he doesn't have any cool cosmetics, and it's probably because he has no idea who I am. Hey, you! Yeah? Yeah, you. I'm gonna make it my duty to help you get better trades, and maybe, just maybe, we can help you get your dream unit the way that I did.
Wow, really? That's sick. How?
This guide might be a little scuffed because who the hell wants to take advice from a guy who's only been trading for 2 months? But hey, I must have done something right. I started trading about 2 months ago. Whether or not you already know, I started from one single Unevo Gowther. I now have all of my favorite units. Those being Tango, Geru, Inuyasha, Zabuza, and of course, just recently, my most favorite unit in the game, Saiki. Saiki is some obscure S tier unit that is worth around 1650 value. He was released and only obtainable during update 6. We're currently in update 15 now. This guy has an awful cosmetic, doesn't wield a weapon, and doesn't even look remotely interesting, but he's my favorite unit without a doubt. And now that I have him, this is my endgame. This is the only unit I have ever really wanted. I've never seen Dragon Ball, so Android 21 and future Gohan don't really matter to me. I feel like you see more Dios than you do any other S tier unit. And I don't really care about Hiei, Kumo, or Blue Devil because I don't really know who those guys are. But how did I get here? First off, let's remember our 7 rules when it comes to trading. Step 1. Only accept a trade when it is even. Step 2. Don't overpay for a unit below A tier that isn't shiny. Step 3. You, on the other hand, should always look for overpay. Step 4. Play dumb. Sometimes pretend like you don't know values, unless the guy is like, hey, I want all of your units for my Haka. Step 5. Never trade for Unevo units. Step 6. Try to offer less and make them want to offer you. Step 7. Don't be afraid to offer when you need to. If it's for a unit you really want, or maybe it's a cosmetic that you really like, don't be afraid to offer that guy. You're probably sitting there thinking, this is great and all, but how do I even start? I always say that I started trading from one Unevo Gowther, but I never tell you how I got that Gowther. I pulled on the banner and got my first limited unit. That's all it took to get the ball rolling. And if you want to start trading, I highly suggest that you grind this new event as much as possible and get as many of the limited units as you can. I'm obviously referring to the summer event where you can open stars, or I'm also referring to the I don't even know what anime Kirito's from. Those banners are also another way to get limited units. You can trade unevoed units if you'd like, but trust me, if you want to maximize your value for your first trades, please evolve your limited units. But Mike, how can I make sure that I get the absolute most from my trades? This is a key point that a lot of people don't take advantage of. This is the fact that every time an update is over and new units become tradable, people have no idea what their value is and go crazy overpaying for the units they missed out on. This is where you capitalize. The way that I predetermine new units' values is simply by comparing them to last update's units. For instance, I traded about 800 value for Shiny Mammy. Judging that her value would be around 1k plus, I quick traded her for around 1k in value. I also got my hands on Shiny Kyoka, and for me, I thought Shiny Kyoka would be worth around the same as Shiny Kuneko because her cosmetic sucks, and so I traded her for around 520 value. With this new update, I've got 2 of each of the limited mythics, and I plan on valuing them similar to the Witch Event units but a little closer to the Devil Hunt units. It isn't hard to predetermine a new unit's values, all you have to do is think a little and compare. But if you've already started trading and have units that aren't new, how can you determine if the trade you're making is worth it? You check the value list. You just use these numbers to see if you are being thrown a fair offer or if you're being scammed. But don't make that trade just yet. You also need to understand that even though the offer is good in terms of value, it might not be that good in other ways. Here's an example. You see, even though Ice Queen's value is around 70, right? We can all see that. And someone throws you an offer including Lucky, Kite, Toshin, and Navi, that offer itself is around 75 in value. But you have to understand that this offer is awful, because you can easily get rid of Ice Queen in a matter of minutes, but you're probably going to be stuck with those 4 units until the day you die. This is because all those units are stuck in the C tier section. They've been in the C tier section for months now, and they have the lowest demands in the entire game. This is a lot easier to follow once you understand the value list. Speaking of, as you've already learned, this is the value list. On this list, there are 4 different ways to tell a unit's value. The second column has the most obvious of the few. It flat out tells you the value of a unit, so we're just gonna go ahead and skip that. The third column, however, is how much the unit is worth in terms of reroll tokens. If you've seen the last video, you've already learned that yes, there are pay-to-win players who spend hundreds of dollars to get the unit that they want. Not that there's anything wrong with those guys, but you know, don't be that guy. Most people don't mind throwing up a couple extra rerolls for a unit that they want or need, so keep that in mind. Some guys don't even look at the value section and instead determine the value of a good trade solely dependent on how many rerolls a character is worth. Don't trade those guys smell. Anyways, in the fourth column we've got demand. This section usually heavily decides if I'm willing to accept a trade or not. I've been able to dumb it down for myself and I'll share it with you too. Big trade, always worry about demand. Small trade, demand should always be 3 and above. And if you're new to trading, don't worry about demand at all. Just build up as much value as you can. You see, I didn't care about demand until just recently, and I'll get into why in just a second. It's pretty apparent that some units are really easy to get rid of, those units usually being Lord Boron, Power, or Navi. But there are also units out there that you should never trade for. I'm talking about Lulu, Tamori, Jozo, and all of the legendary units. No one will ever tell you this, but these units are absolutely horrible to trade. You're probably like, but Mike, Tamori and Jozo are worth like 400 value. Why wouldn't I trade for such a high tier unit? Oh my god, I'm telling you, it's like some fake value or something. I traded someone for a Tamori, and I kid you not, it took me damn well a week straight server hopping and posting on the Discord just to get rid of her. Nobody wants her. Nobody. It's like she says 400, but everyone values her at like half that. Nobody would take my trade even though it was overpay. And it was overpay every single time. Lulu is the Tamori of the lower tier trade units. Lulu's value has had that declining tag on it for 3 months now. He's awful to trade for, but is a pretty cool cosmetic if you just want his cosmetic. I've never had a Jozo, but I've seen the same guys in every lobby for the past month walking around like, hey, anybody want to trade for a Jozo? And those guys literally never get any trades. Legendary units are no exception in this category. Not only are they impossible to trade, but they're worth literally scraps in comparison to every other unit. I have nearly all of them, but it's only because I've grown this weird obsession with collecting them all. I'm literally only missing Lufo's Marine for it. So if you've got that one, hit me up because I want it. But please, please, for the love of God, stay away from these units. You will not only lose value, but you will also lose your mind trying to get rid of them. Aside from god-awful units, there are some units that you need to get your hands on. For the people just starting, I highly recommend trying to get your hands on Navi, Oshi, Daki, Ice Queen, and Kisuke. Even though their cosmetics are pretty boring, they are all usable units, and because of how much value they can bring to a team, they can sometimes even get you overpay. Navi is the only money-making unit that attacks. Oshi buffs and cut cost. Daki is bleed meta, Ice Queen slows, and Kisuke, I don't know if he does anything, but he has a cool cosmetic. Now, if you aren't new and have a pretty good tradable inventory, you're looking for low tier shiny units in mid B tiers. You will almost always get overpay for people like Inuyasha or Lord Boron, and you can use these B tiers to eventually trade up for A tiers and higher. But simply put, everyone's goal should be to trade up for an Emily, preferably without overpaying more than 100. The reason for this is because when Emily was worth 250 value, no one accepted trades for her until they were offered 400 plus. And now she's worth 325, which means that you'll get even more overpay. Some units will always get overpay, and that brings me to my next topic. What if I told you that the values you see aren't always real? Just like the whole Tamori situation, there are units on this list that receive the exact opposite treatment, and rather than getting massive underpay, they instead get massive overpay. Shiny units always get overpay, especially Shiny Yoshina, Shiny Shisui, Shiny Piccolo, and Shiny Ging. Those guys can easily get 300 plus overpay. Oh, and I can't forget to tell you about triple S stat units. Any tradable unit that has a triple S stat instantly becomes 300 plus value no matter who it is. This is an important fact to know. Don't get scammed for your triple S stats. But that's pretty much all there is to it. That's trading. Follow my rules, use the value list, think about more than just the value of a unit when making a trade, and you'll get your dream unit in no time. Low key, if your dream unit is Dio over heaven, I pray for you. But I won't knock it, because if I can somehow get my dream unit, so can you. Consider subscribing and be sure to check out my other content. Thanks for watching. Oh, you're still here. The video's over, man. I'm not Marvel. You're not getting an end credit scene. What are you even looking for? A giveaway? Alright, fine. Between you and me, anyone who comments, W-Mans, alright, gets their username thrown into a wheel. Winner gets a free shiny Haka. Results will be announced at the end of the month. Now scram.